Good morning. Welcome to May, 1 May 2021. And it was a cool morning. There's the rooster crowing. This is the first day of the farmer's market up before daylight. Get loaded up. Get early to the market. This is a patch of mint. It started off small and it's quite large. Some people call it mint julep. Same mint typically used in conjunction with the Kentucky Derby. Very spearmint. You almost, like you open a pack of Wrigley's spearmint gum and smell of it. That's what it smells like. Very strong. And there's plants up on the porch. Quite a few of them. Kind of our own little hangout nook. And there's quite a bit of lemon balm here. And the bugs have already found some of it. But that's very lemony. Also in the mint family. And some yucca bushes, which is not a lot edible off of those. Well, yes, they're among the edible and usable. And this is a structure I just created a few days ago, which is planted in kale and chard. And we have to keep everything fenced off for the deer and rabbits and varmints of various sorts. And here is a struggling bed of lettuce. Not too bad. Got some bare spots. Endured a lot of cold weather. Went into the 20s one night. Another yucca, which is kind of in the way. And the spinach didn't come up as thick as it should have. And we sowed it twice, but that looks pretty good. They'll last a while, and these are more towers of chard, which that's everything that you're looking at has been harvested off of for the market. So the biggest stuff has been probably removed and mostly cleaned up. And here is a bed of onions, which I harvested 10 bundles for the market. These will last us a while. And these guys also endured a lot of cold. And just feeling thankful this morning. Here's a bed of kale. And, oh, looky there. I was being thankful we had clear blue skies. But it appears that someone is trying to do otherwise. Anyway, nice blue dome everywhere beyond the tree line. It's cold this morning. It's finally warming up. Oh, here's a catnip hiding over here in the corner. So onions help detract pests, and this stuff here, kale, is like cabbage, prone to like a cabbage moth. You have to watch for, and occasionally either use some sulfur or diatomaceous earth or something like that to abate the criminals. And this is some red lettuce in the corner. That was a resow area, but that bed came up and has done nicely. And we harvested a lot off of that yesterday. And there's the garlic, who thrives through the winter. Also a good pest deterrent. And this lemon balm got bit by the 28 degrees. And you can see that there's a sage back there, which that's a perennial in the ground. He looks very lovely this year. Reasonable amount of spinach, and again, that was harvested off of. And I may go to the other end. This is mustard greens. you know, we put the work into it, but I have to give credit where credit is due. This is just, we applied ourselves a little bit, and nature took care of the rest. Oh, and another catnip here. And this is high mallow, which, it makes a pretty purple flower, but it's a little bit invasive. But it's a nice plant. It's also got medicinal uses. And that is not looking its best, but this is rue. You can see the new growth here at the end. I was looking at that thinking I might try to make a cutting. I don't think rue is a popular bush. Has an odd smell, kind of reminiscent a little bit of wormwood. I wonder if it might have thujone in it. And this is radishes, getting a little weedy, but those will be harvested very soon. This last rain. Spacing is always very important on radishes, and I just am not as diligent to space everything greatly, but I think it did okay. And then this is where the bed where we lost the cabbage. We had 100 bok choy type cabbages in here, and the cold weather killed them, so we replaced it with chard and kale. Thankfully we had those to, oh, and there's a cilantro that's growing here with, there's another little one down in there too. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what we have going on here. Here's the inside view on this. Took me an hour or so to put that together, maybe a tad longer, counting the putting the dirt in there. And that's several different layers of things that are in it. Okay, and off we go to another area. This plot is almost ready. I had clover very nicely thick over that for the winter, and all that's been tilled in a few times. We do, some plots are tilled and some are not, and this is one of them. We typically will grow peppers or tomatoes in that, and the peppers will fill that space primarily, maybe with a few basil plants. Grow some jalapenos and some super chilies, and maybe some cayenne. And this is Saturday, this past Monday, we planted a lot of this plot here, which is various squash, including acorn, zucchini, yellow and white patty pan, spaghetti squash. It's a number of different varieties. 4 rows are the same, I think, as the yellow patty pan. That's a popular item. And the acorns come in later. And this year I made a compound because of all the deer. The rabbits aren't too bad, but we do have problems with that. And out here is, we sowed or planted 50 tomatoes out Monday, and I think Tuesday we put these last 14 here in. Got a few rows to go. I keep all this closed off, hopefully to keep the deer out. They love cucumbers, especially when they're young. But that's cucumbers and more cucumbers. And here's yarrow. That's not necessarily a companion, although I guess it might qualify. But the leaves are immediately useful to staunch bleeding. You just crumble it up in your fingers and apply the leaves to your cut. It staunches bleeding. And there's a wild strawberry growing. cucumbers in 2 rows. The next one is straight neck yellow squash. And we have 3 in a part of another 4th row to finish up on tomatoes. And we might get those today. Anyway, so just a quick tour out here. Apple tree still blooms, still blooming. The azalea's trying to bloom. Boy, I need to cut on that guy. He needs turned up badly. Another apple tree. This one's so close to this big giant river birch that it doesn't really tend to produce. But it is only a few years old. Okay, a little trek across land. But yeah, I was just kind of being thankful looking at the amount of food that we have to grow. If need be, people always got to eat. It'd be a good. We've got different lilies here, and those are irises, I believe. And here's a valerian, if you can see it there, about to bloom. And we can go into the greenhouse, I reckon. Today I'll probably put a shade cloth in this framework above. We're in the 6 weeks or so leading up to the height of the sun. This area got knocked off by a big tree, so we sort of repurposed it. There's the shade cloth actually I'm putting up. Go inside, and soon time to water. We've got coleus, impatiens. Their colors are pretty this morning. And more impatiens. That big pot in the back is begonias. These little guys here, chamomile. They're starting to look like chamomile. And the mixing station. And an overview, real quick. Old perennials, nasturtiums and echinacea. Some things need clean up. Oh, look at the sage. Pretty. Bunch of rosemary. The garlic needs cleaned up a little bit. And I transplanted some celery the other day. There's a few plants left in that flat. I used most of them. And there's, I'm not sure what those are. Something waiting to come up. Might be like a dahlia or a caladium maybe. And there's some lavender and more lavender, and that's sweet marjoram. And some baby calendula. And those are blue salvia, I think. And lavender. And a bunch of flowers. A big overachiever, coleus. I think somebody accidentally gave us a Kong seed. That's the biggest thing in the house. Although that one's getting pretty good size too. And a bunch of marigolds went to the market, but we still have a few. And a table of peppers and basil, mostly. And there is acorn squash. That's for the market. Cantaloupe that hasn't come up. And then this is all going to be tomatoes of various sorts, many a flat. Some of those I need to put out today. Some went to the market. some in a smaller stage, some in 6-packs versus cups. And our peppers look perky and a little bug eaten there on this one. Ants tend to love them. I'm going to be moving a lot of stuff. There's small sage. I'm going to be moving some of those peppers outdoors. Change their flats. Make sure to try to de-ant them. Anyway, and so peppers are a little slow in their early stages, I find. Like tomatoes will jump up fast, but peppers take a little while. I think they like warmer temperatures. And none of those went to the market. Lettuce planters. Looks pretty good to me. Looks like it was cold last night. It's ready to eat. And this side, echinacea in various stages. And this is sage a little bit larger. So we have sage in stages. Stages of sage. Those are those salvia. And there's more bulbs waiting to come up. And that is straight 8 cucumbers. We could have taken those. And I still have kale that I can plant or sell. I think it's very pretty. It's done very well in the 6-packs. But it's time to be moved. Parsley and more basil. Seeded stuff that hasn't come up. Chamomile, celery, foxglove, and it's maybe cayenne. It's a type of pepper for sure, and that's jalapenos. So that's kind of what it looks like. Strawberry we've had for many years. It only makes like pinky size strawberries, but it makes every year in a pot. And that's a pretty guy there. That's what those are over there, is cuttings from that. They'll be ready to go. Alrighty, well, it's been fun, but I gotta run. 18 minutes, I can't believe it.